They say no woman can outrun her past. But what if the past is waiting for you, dressed in a black suit, smiling, and calling your name in a voice only the dead should hear? In Acacia Town, they warned the boys about Akojoa, but no one warned Akojoa about him. In the bustling town of Acacia in Ghana, lived a young woman named Akojoa. She was the epitome of heartache. A 33-year-old spinster with a radiant smile and a melodic voice. She was tall, fair, and irresistibly alluring. The kind of woman who didn't need wealth to draw attention, but had just enough from her small boutique to sustain her carefree ways. Men swarmed around her, and she offered them just enough affection to make them feel unique, but she never committed. Marriage. She scoffed whenever it was mentioned. You people want to trap me. Life is too enjoyable. I'm not ready to settle down, she'd say with a flirtatious laugh. On a typical Sunday, Akojoa would leave one man's house at dawn, have lunch with another in the afternoon, and end the evening with yet another. She had a strict rule: never spend the night in the same place twice a week. And no matter how devoted the man was, she'd vanish once he grew too attached. One of those men was Cyril, a tailor who once got on his knees and pleaded for her to marry him. He cooked for her, fixed her clothes, even covered her shop rent when sales were slow. But Akojoa disappeared without a trace. She didn't even bid farewell. Cyril withdrew from society afterward. Whispers spread: he had a breakdown, wept in the market square, burned his tools one night. Some claimed he lost his drive from the sorrow. Akojoa didn't bat an eye. She chuckled with her friends at a palm wine joint one evening, quipping, "No one can rush me." That night, as she sauntered home with a sway in her step, she spotted him, a man in a long black suit, standing at the crossroads as if he'd been expecting her. He wasn't like the usual town folk. He was older, composed, almost majestic. His eyes were profound and eerie, as if they'd witnessed realms beyond the living. His voice was gentle yet authoritative. "You seem like someone who doesn't sleep alone," he said. Akojoa grinned. "You seem like someone who shouldn't be alone." He didn't chuckle. He simply turned and murmured, "Follow me." And for the first time in her life, Akojoa followed a man without questioning his destination. The rain had ceased, but the clouds lingered low as Akojoa trailed the man in the black suit. His footsteps were soundless on the dirt path. His attire didn't flutter. He led the way as if he knew every twist, even though they'd left the town behind. Akojoa asked no questions. She didn't mind. She couldn't even recognize what part of Acacia they were in anymore. "Your name?" she inquired casually. He glanced back slightly. "Tino. Tino. I like that. I'm Akojoa. You probably already know." "I do." That should have alarmed her, but Akojoa was too captivated by his presence. His voice echoed like a murmur in her thoughts. It soothed her, compelling her to follow without hesitation. They passed palm trees, quiet huts, a weathered wooden gate. Then he halted before a tall black fence. No sign, no illumination, just shadows and mist enveloping the grounds. Inside, lanterns flickered faintly. Figures moved leisurely across the yard, but they weren't hostile. They seemed inviting. As they entered, the atmosphere changed, dense, but not chilly. Still, Akojoa felt an odd tug in her heart, as if her instincts urged retreat, but her feet disobeyed. "This is where I live," Tino said. He guided her into a modest bungalow painted dark gray. It was tidy. Peculiar, but tidy. She noticed about 3 people outside, 2 women and a man, serene and mute, offering faint smiles. Friends, Tino explained briefly. They greeted Akojoa. Welcome, they intoned in unison, their tones so monotone it chilled her spine. One of them, an elderly woman with a twisted grin, asked, "Is she the one?" Tino nodded. Inside, the house was shadowy. A bed, a table, odd relics on the walls that Akojoa couldn't identify. But strangely, it felt welcoming. Warm, cozy. Tino offered her food. It tasted unlike anything before, savory yet velvety. She ate and grew drowsy almost instantly. "Let's rest," he said, pulling a curtain over the bed. Akojoa smiled sleepily. "This feels like a dream." Tino smiled back, his eyes faintly luminous in the gloom. "It is." She shut her eyes, and reality faded. Akojoa awoke to faint humming. It was still dark, or perhaps the curtains were too heavy. The room's air felt thicker, like fog without odor. She rose gradually, her head throbbing mildly. Tino wasn't next to her. She stepped outside. The compound appeared altered. The walls weren't gray anymore but draped in withered creepers and bizarre symbols. The air hummed subtly, like distant thunder. The 3 who had welcomed her sat unchanged, unblinking, silent. Akojoa rubbed her eyes. The old woman turned sluggishly. "You're awake." "Good." Tino materialized beside her, as if emerging from the darkness. "I thought you'd be weary," he said softly, caressing her cheek. Akojoa surveyed the area. "Where's the entrance?" "This place has no generator for light." Tino smiled. "You'll adjust." She patted her pockets, her phone was missing. "No need for phones here," he added, as if sensing her mind. She frowned but stayed silent. Something warned her not to challenge. "So, what do you do here?" "We exist," he replied calmly. That day blurred like a haze. Tino prepared meals, nourished her, smiled often, and oddly, Akojoa felt no urge to depart. Though her thoughts raced with queries, her body felt lethargic, sluggish, numb. At night, she glimpsed eerie silhouettes beyond the window, figures drifting past, shoeless, voiceless. Some paused to gaze at the house. Others murmured and continued. Tino ignored them. By the 3rd day, Akojoa knew something was amiss. "I need to leave," she declared. "My family will worry." Tino placed a finger on her lips. "You're secure here. Forget them." She tried the door, it wouldn't budge. "Tino, open this." "You're still fatigued," he whispered gently. "Stay with me a bit more." Then he smiled, and Akojoa forgot her words. She sat, ate the meal he provided, slept again, and time dissolved into mist. 2 days became 4. 4 to 10. Akojoa didn't notice her hair growing unkempt, her clothes fraying, her skin growing ashen. She laughed daily with the same 3, though their names eluded her. She roamed the house as if it were hers. She conversed with shadows like kin. And nightly, she lay beside Tino, hearing him croon melodies that seemed otherworldly. One day, she asked, "How long have I been here?" Tino gazed at her. "You arrived 2 days ago." Okojo nodded. That's right. But beyond, 2 years had elapsed, and her mother still burned incense. Mama Okojo perched on her daughter's disheveled bed, clutching her scarf like a cherished relic. It had been 2 years since Okojo vanished. Life in their modest home hadn't recovered. Police investigated and departed clueless. Friends provided sympathies, speculations, then quiet. Some said she fled to Europe. Others suggested death forced her into hiding. A few muttered she might be dead. But Mama Okojo sensed deeper truth. Her intuition insisted Okojo wasn't deceased, yet not truly alive. Each evening, she tidied her room, set out food, and ignited a red candle. She'd murmur, "Wherever you are, my daughter, return." Her sister, Abina, a teacher, nearly shattered from grief. She plastered posters town-wide, posted on social media, consulted local herbalists desperately. "I should have intervened," she sobbed. "All those men, all those late nights." Something was destined to ensnare her. They both self-blamed. Then one afternoon, change stirred. Abina attended a revival meeting on the town's edge, pulled by a friend who claimed the prophet saw revelations. She anticipated nothing. But as Pastor James preached, his voice quivered. He pointed at her. "You, Abina in the blue head wrap. Where is your sister?" Abina's heart leaped. She couldn't respond. "She is ensnared," the pastor said, eyes shut. "Not lost, not dead, but not among the living." Gasps rippled through the assembly. Pastor James continued, taken by a man with eyes like embers and words that deceive sweetly. "She dwells among shades, consuming sustenance that saps the soul, resting in a dwelling rooted in the earth. Without prayer, she'll never return." Mama wailed. That day ignited the battle. For 21 nights, Pastor James guided prayers, fasting, midnight vigils, candles, scriptures, holy water sprinkled on Okojo's belongings. They shredded old pictures and scattered ash around her room. They wept. They howled. One night, Pastor James declared, "She'll contact soon. Await the signal." The next morning, Abina's phone rang. "Caller, Okojo." She nearly dropped it. Trembling, she answered. "Hello." A voice unheard for 2 years, hoarse, faint, deliberate. "Abina. It's me. I'm okay. I want you to meet someone. My husband. I'm expecting." Abina nearly collapsed. "Where are you?" she yelled. Okojo provided an address. Abina noted it. "I'm coming immediately." She hailed a taxi, questions unasked, thoughts suspended. The taxi led her directly to the graveyard. The driver halted, glancing back. "Madam, this is the spot." Abina looked out, rows of headstones, weathered and overgrown. The gate stood ajar. The arch read, "Eternal Peace Burial Ground." Her pulse raced. This can't be. She redialed Okojo. It rang. She answered. "I'm outside," Abina whispered, composure straining. "But are you sure this is correct?" "Yes," Okojo said evenly. "Enter." "I'm waiting." Abina's hands shook as she hung up. She alighted slowly, feet crushing withered grass. The air reeked of faded blooms and moist soil. No stir, no chirps, just hush. She advanced past the gates, steps faltering, eyes darting. Then she saw her. Akojua, reclining against a gravestone like a bench. She looked altered, face emaciated, cheeks hollow, eyes dim as if sun-deprived. Her dress dangled loosely on her shrunken form, but she smiled. Abina, you came. Abina halted. Akojua, what is this place? My home, she replied plainly. Come, let me introduce you. She led on as if ordinary, not navigating a cemetery. Abina trailed hesitantly, instinct screaming flight. They reached a small grey structure at the cemetery's end, quiet, with dark drapes over windows. Outside sat 3 strangers, silent, staring blankly. The door opened. Tino emerged, his frame imposing. Still in black, his skin shimmered unnaturally, too flawless, too pallid, too ideal. His eyes pierced Abina's like blades. You must be the sister, he said with a subtle smile. Come in. Abina froze, legs rooted. Her heart thundered. Akojua turned, irritated. Why act this way? He's my husband. Be happy for me. Abina's mouth gaped, words failing. Instead, she fled, through graves, shoes lost, lungs aflame. She dashed to the taxi, yelling, "Drive! Now!" That night, hands trembling, she recounted to Mama, the stones, Akojua's visage, the spectral figures, the man in black. Mama didn't doubt. She summoned Pastor James. We are going there, she said resolutely. Tomorrow. Long before he was Tino, he bore another name, erased from records and markers. He had been a man of vitality, handsome, arrogant, and as reckless as Akojua. His tale started over 70 years ago in a neighboring village, where he was infamous for wooing women, wedded or single, and abandoning them when weary. Like Akojua, he thrived on the chase. Until he pursued the wrong woman, she was betrothed, influential, ruthless. She exploited him, shamed him, discarded him. He lost all, reputation, sanity, life. Devastated, hexed by her kin, rumored sorcerers, Tino roamed deranged and sobbing until he staggered into the burial ground one night, shoeless and wounded. He entered in tears and never exited. That eve, something heeded his agony. A whisper, a pact. The darkness granted power no woman could. But the price, he'd roam among the departed, never truly alive. He'd sustain not on flesh, but souls of women who shattered hearts as he had. Thus, he became what he was, in the grey abode within eternal peace burial ground. Tino loomed over Akojua as she slumbered. His hands floated above her chest. His elongated nails shimmered as he muttered in an arcane tongue. Her face contorted, eyes recessed, lips parched. She was waning fragment by fragment. Her essence fracturing. But an issue arose. The invocations, he sensed them in his core. Someone invoked her name with fervor. He addressed his 3 aides. We must conclude swiftly, he intoned, voice resonating like ghosts in a tomb. They are approaching. One hissed. I know. He rose, gazing at his form. It's nearly time. She provided what I required. Her vanity, her ego, her desire. All nourished the entity. A soft groan echoed. Okonkwo shifted, eyes flickering. Briefly, she murmured, "Mama." Tino whirled. "Sleep." Her form quieted. He shut his eyes, beseeching the ethereal realm. Let them arrive. I'll demonstrate the cost of disturbing the deceased. Dawn barely broke when Abina, Mama, and Pastor James reached Eternal Peace's gates. Abina gripped holy water. Mama held Okonkwo's worn prayer beads. Pastor James bore a wooden cross and resolve. Speak not to what addresses you, Pastor warned. No matter how familiar. Abina nodded, throat tight. Gates creaked as they entered. Air turned frigid, oppressive, as if the soil observed. From the fog, a man in black suit materialized. Tino, his presence towering, skin bone white, smile razor-edged. He lifted a hand. Okonkwo is no longer yours. Pastor James advanced. And you don't belong among the quick. Tino laughed gently, like a father entertained. She followed willingly. I offered what your realm couldn't. Tranquility. Meaning. A legacy. Mama cried, Okonkwo. She wasn't herself. You deceived her. Behind Tino, the three advanced like marionettes, feet skimming earth. Then Okonkwo emerged from the grey house, squinting at light as if unseen for ages. Hair tangled, eyes vacant, body skeletal. She spied her mother. Mama. Mama rushed, but Tino extended his arm, earthquaking. Tomb split. Winds wailed through Marcus. Don't touch her, he bellowed. Pastor James elevated the water, praying fervently. Every bond of shadow on Okonkwo's life, shattered by divine light. Abina splashed water on soil. The ground thundered. Shades howled. Tino knelt, voice warped, inhuman. You ignore what she did, he wailed. She exploited men. Vowed affection, delivered agony. I consume her ilk. I impart unforgettable lessons. Okonkwo gazed dazedly. Haze cleared from her mind. She beheld fractured graves, the figures now decayed, grins vacant. And Tino, not handsome, not vital. His form twisted, something within writhing like a beast emerging. No, Okonkwo breathed, collapsing. What is this? You were mine, Tino shrieked, voice booming. I selected you. I flourished from your transgressions. Pastor James roared louder, dousing earth, banishing spirits of demise. Abruptly, silence erupted. Tino howled. His form wavered, briefly a broken boy in white attire, sobbing. Then embers engulfed his visage. His aids dissolved to ash. The entity within vanished. Only Okonkwo lingered, quivering, half gone. They hurried to her. Pastor James supported her. Eyes darted. Mouth arid. She scarcely spoke. Okonkwo, Mama whispered. We have you. You're safe. But inwardly, she knew it was too late. A hospital cot groaned under Okonkwo's frail form. Skin ashen, taut over bones. Lips split. Hair sparse. Doctors claimed her system failed, unexplained. No wound, no ailment. Blood pure. Yet, she perished. The sole rationale, she'd been where flesh shouldn't endure. Mama stayed bedside, refusing sustenance. She clasped her hand, pleading, "My daughter, fight. Awaken." Abina sobbed outside. "I should have acted sooner. Dragged her out that day." Mama, she stood amid the dead like kin. But Pastor James, drained from the clash, uttered words that hushed awe. Her flesh escaped, but her spirit remains bound. Okojo roused. Eyes parted slowly. Light burned. "Mama," she rasped. "Yes, I'm here," she wept. "I saw everything," she murmured. "Not a dream. Tino, he drained me. And others, many before. Their faces in dreams." She gasped, gripping chest. Pulse surged. "He said I was special. Tasted unique, laden with vice." Mama wept fiercely. They chanted nightly. Walls had eyes. Watched me. Danced with cadavers, thought them companions. Mama. I rested with them. Eyes rolled. Breath faint. He's still within. Those were Akojoa's final words. Body arched, then slackened. Machines drawn flat. Mama's cry sliced the air. Abina collapsed. Medics rushed, futile. Akojoa departed. They interred her modestly in the village burial site. No grand rites, no orations, just Mama, Abina, Pastor James, few locals. As death shrouded the casket, Pastor James set a cross and whispered, "May death's portals claim you no more." Yet even he seemed doubtful. Weeks later, on a serene road, dusk painted the sky in crimson and violet. A blue Suzuki sped along in another town, driver a young woman named ESI, singing to tunes, a drink in holder, mind on her recent success. She slowed, spotting her, a woman roadside, solitary, no possessions, just poised. She donned a long black dress. Hair swayed in breeze. Though dimming, ESI saw her face, impeccable, pale, glass-sculpted. Eyes bossaro that beckoned aid. ESI lowered window. "Evening, sister. Need a lift." She tilted head. "Just for the night." ESI laughed. "Where to?" She neared, steps hushed. "Not distant," she said. "I need company." ESI paused, then grinned. "Get in." She did. Scent sweet, subtle, like aged blossoms. They spoke little. She gazed out mostly. Hands neatly in lap. When ESI asked her name, she replied without glance. "Tina." ESI chuckled. "Lovely name." She turned, faint smile. "You seem like someone who doesn't sleep alone." ESI laughed anew. "Perhaps tonight I won't." She grinned broader. "That's what the last one said." And thus, it recommenced. Even as the world chuckles alongside you, the cosmos retains records. Akojoa viewed shattering hearts as innocent amusement until encountering a man unlike others. Every decision, particularly those inflicting pain, rebounds unexpectedly, sometimes from inescapable realms. This tale imparts that certain lures appear enticing until they ensnare. Charm and allure can deceive. As Akojua wielded hers to entice, she was enticed by one whose grin ran deeper. Always peer beneath. Some thresholds, once crossed, seal eternally. Treating love as sport wagers your essence. Akojua toyed with emotions, unaware broken hearts don't remain interred forever. In this existence or beyond, those who exploit and abandon will meet a superior player. If you enjoyed this chilling Ghanaian folktale, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more spine-tingling African stories. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a new tale. Share your thoughts in the comments. Did Akojua deserve her fate, or was it too harsh? Stay tuned for more eerie adventures.